far I've been sleeping quite well. The mattress is quite comfortable.
It's a busy street full of life, souvenirs, local batik, street food and many more.
Kita ada balkon khusus untuk merokok.
Oh, ni tempat rokok.
Sini ya.
This is Hatta, my tour guide of the day. Fun facts, Indonesia's first vice president also had the same name.
That they had the competition to build bigger temple. Second thing,
It's not just a temple, it's a symbol of harmony between humans, nature and the divine.
Welcome back to the channel. Going to Borobudur Temple, a bit far away from current location right now at Kamala House. My hostel stay in Yogyakarta.
Selamat malam.
Malam.
Mau check-in kan?
Saya dah book hotel lah.
Atas nama Mas Muhammad Arif.
Betul.
Ya. Tanda tangan sebelah sini. Pas sudah selesai nanti bisa di-scan sebelah sini. Kartu depositnya mau disimpan.
Oke.
Kalau gitu saya antar untuk bilik kamar mandinya. Sebelah sini untuk toiletnya, kemudian wastafel.
Okay, cantik. Okay, boleh.
Kemudian nanti kalau untuk mandi bisa sebelah sini, sebelah sini.
Ni tempat staff room lah.
Iya. Untuk kamarnya mari saya tunjukkan. Untuk kamarnya sebelah sini. Ya, kamarnya sebelah ini. Nah, itu.
So far I've been sleeping quite well. The mattress is quite comfortable. The place is very clean. In this room there is 4 beds. This is where I sleep. And over here you can make baby.
And don't forget to bring a 2-pin plug to charge your phone or any gadget you have, and bring along your power bank as well. I believe that is the most important thing.
04.
Ya, nomor 04. Orang keluarga bisa masukin sini, A04, A04 sebelah sini. Sama untuk kita juga meminjamkan sandal, bisa dipakai dalam area kamar sini. Kalau untuk di atas juga ada kamar kapsul seperti ini. Nomor rokok bisa di atas. Kita ada balkon khusus untuk merokok.
Oh, ni tempat rokok.
Sebelah sini ya.
Tempat santai ya?
Rokok, ya, sebelah sini.
Oh, okay, cantik. Okay. Santai. Basically, there is no breakfast. You need to buy food from outside. Water is quite warm when you shower. So everything I certified staying here. Yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of locals and also some foreigners staying in the hostel. I rent a motorbike. It's called Genio. It's an automatic motorbike. I rent at the Zigzag rental motor. Is nearby station.
One night costs around 145,000 rupiah. I believe it's totally worth it. And if you are staying here, Jalan Malioboro is just a short ride away. It's a busy street full of life, souvenirs, local batik, street food and many more.
Everything good. Let's go.
It's time to hit the road. Today's plan, a solo motorbike ride from Jogja and going towards north to Borobudur Temple, one of Indonesia's most sacred and iconic landmark. It's about 34 kilometers away from where I am. The travel is like going from Changi Airport to Choa Chu Kang. If you are Singaporean like me, you can relate. And to get there, I'm gonna go straight through this hustling and bustling life. Everyone is rushing, going to work, meeting someone or doing something else. Shopping malls nearby is opening. Street vendors is setting up their stores. Malls are everywhere. City centers roads are well maintained, which I impressed the most. I hope I don't get myself wet this time. The weather seems warm and fine. Always avoid riding behind cars and heavy vehicles. It can be really dangerous. You never know what's gonna happen to you. This can be really extreme. This is only the beginning part of my journey. As I continue, there are a few connecting bridges over small rivers. The scenery becomes greener. Along this road, you can see some shops selling souvenirs and statues. You can drop by if you have a bit of time. So if you are thinking of doing this route yourself, I'm highly recommend renting a scooter. Just take it slow, enjoy the breeze and stop wherever something catches your eye. It's not about getting there fast, but it's about enjoying the ride.
I find this shop alongside the main road. It's bakso sapi, soto ayam. Looks delicious.
After almost an hour on the road, I decided to make a quick stop at this small place called Sandara Restaurant.
Nah, saya ingin nasi goreng.
Oh ya, pedas nggak?
Kurang pedas.
Kurang sedang berarti.
Sedang.
Ya. Sama. minumnya.
Airnya bagi teh ais lah, teh ais.
Oh ya. Atas.
Boleh atas.
Ya.
Yeah.
I choose to sit upstairs on their open rooftop. The view from up here is just beautiful. Stretches of green fields, small village houses and the distant sound of motorbikes passing by.
Take a seat on the chair, then you can see the nature. Then have a cigarette in the middle of the place. Nice nasi goreng, it looks good. So a whole bunch of egg, we put it.
I had not eaten much of the whole day, so the first thing came to mind was something simple and local, nasi goreng. Indonesia's famous fried rice. You can never go wrong with that. It has warm rice with a fried egg right on top.
They put it some garlic, veggies, chickens, nice food.
Some bites of veggies and some slices of chicken. It's flavorful, salty, a bit spicy, and I'm fine with that.
If you want to come to around Borobudur, it's just beside the main road. You can chill around this area and sit down before you going to Borobudur or after you going Borobudur.
Kiri, nanti ada perempatan lagi kanan, udah sampai itu.
Sudah sampai?
Ya.
Actually, the parking lot I have to turn to the other side of the entrance. But it's okay. This is part of the adventure, isn't it?
Tarifnya 5.000 sekalian ya.
This is Hatta, my tour guide of the day. Fun facts, Indonesia's first vice president also had the same name. Borobudur receives around 1,200 visitors per day and is usually closed on Monday for maintenance. But since its summer break now is open, along the pathway you will hear traditional Javanese music, gambling sounds that make the walk even more magical. You can even keep your sandals as a souvenir after stepping onto the temple area.
7 to 8 centuries. That was the golden age for Hindu and Buddha. So they're living together in a harmony. We have two great kingdom. The only problem was really simple, that they had a competition to build bigger temple. Second thing, we talk about environment. Indonesia is unique. We have 17,000 islands. We fly 9 hours 15 minutes from east to the west. That's entire Europe. We are also part of the world a ring of fire. So we have 127 volcanoes and 5 is exactly on this area. One of the most active, not only in Indonesia, in the world. We call it Merapi, and that will be 30 kilometers behind of you. If you stay on this area or Yogyakarta this morning, you find it smoking, and that is really good news for us. Last month we got a small eruption in the range of 10 kilometers. We got a bit rainy of assist, so we prefer to get small eruption regularly, twice 3 times at least in a year. That it means that Merapi release the energy part by part. What happen when it's sleeping? That it means collecting more energy, and in the end will be explosive. When it's happen, 1 million cubic meter of volcanic material, sandstone ashes, throw to the air and flying everywhere. November 2010, we got the last big eruption, and 5 centimeter of volcanic ashes was here, everywhere. The natural disaster with our temple. 7 to 8 century they built this. In the end of 10th century, the 5 volcanoes that I mentioned to you erupted together, and this is the trigger to the kingdom they decide to move from this area because no more safe to stay. The temple forgotten for almost 800 years. Why this is really unique and different? I'm sure everyone you travel a lot. When you find and visit a temple, whatever the background, even it's Hindu or Buddha, temple is always has a room inside. That a place for meditation, offering, worshipping. And the first unique fact, we have no room here. When the temple was built, it's not everyone reading. So the book, the text of Buddha teaching, the Buddha history, we describe it into a picture on the wall, really like a comic, so it's easier for everyone to learn and understand. Let me invite you to turn right here. They start to clean everything, and the Dutch take over 100 years after that. They had higher curiosity. On their calculation is approximately 20% from the total construction fall down. So what they did is really like a puzzling. They collected and they start to put everything back, stand up at 1911. We're jumping into 1960. When you get focused on the middle part, there are 5 levels with the Buddha sitting. The wall is going to slide, leaning, and it's really bad condition. This condition invite UNESCO to supporting us for the second restoration. UNESCO initiated international fundraising and we need 10 years. What we did, the 5 level on the middle, we totally dismantling it. We open up total 1 million block. IBM supporting us for computerized. They develop a special software for us. We put a marking on every single block like an ID. We send it to the workshop. We wash it, we put a treatment, and every single block they have to come back to the original position. If you start to comparing, sometimes small but sometimes bigger, average 40 kilogram. You don't need to go to the gym. Come on, stay here with us a month and you will come back muscle because we do it manually. The head of Buddha, 504 total, and more than half that you will find it headless or armless. A single Buddha that was created from a single stone, one piece. So the most fragile part is the right arm or the head. Some of them fall down naturally, broken and we lost it, but mostly stolen. That the price will be 20-25 million US dollar, one head. But second good news, 22 head returned from many national museums around the world. Government to government connection. So in total now we have 55 head, but we still on analysis to find the right body. This is the problem of archaeology. Complicated. Size, texture, color, everything fit. Then we send the Buddha for surgery. We put a new connector inside to make it stronger.
Now here's something a lot of people don't know. Borobudur is the largest single Buddhist temple in the world. Built in the 7th or 8th century, it's made entirely of volcanic stone with over 2,600 relief panels and 500 Buddha statues carved into its structure. Each level represents a different stage of enlightenment, from the world of desire at the base to nirvana at the top.
On the right side, you can see someone in the middle. He described bigger. Here's our spotlight. This person gets sick. When it's getting worse, family, friend, neighbor coming. Someone under the tree, she create the herbs. They bring a food, they touch the head, they touch the body. They give a massage, a treatment. So now, what happened when they help each other? Let me invite you to check the family here on the left. They're sitting higher, they're wearing more jewelry, so the economical condition is much better. Someone who do good things on the right side, that will bring a good karma here on the left. So you can find here, look at everyone here on the left side. Look at the face. They look so sad, they look so ugly. Again, the three, the five, cause and effect. If the content familiar to the society at the time, they will repeat it two or sometimes 3 times. You can find everyone there on the center. So here we learn that everything has a consequences, whatever it is. Left, right, stay day, night, stay home, traveling, single, married. Everything has a consequence. Take your time, slowly, you are in a vacation, no rush. Let me check. Siddhartha is holding a ring and he asking the girl to try the ring. And one princess fit Yasodhara her name. Finally they go married. That's the first time Siddhartha feel comfort. He has a partner to talk heart by heart. So here in Java, we believe when Siddhartha do not marry, he never become a Buddha. Our quote say, there's always a great woman behind of a great man. Buddha did it. So here, if you are husband or boyfriend, you have to say yes. When I'm home, I say yes. We will see what happens next year when we turn to the right. Come. Special location, but sorry, this is too private. So we got censored. This is like a beep on the movie and we jumping to the next scene. Sorry, too private. So we're going to decide.
What's so unique about Borobudur is how it blends spirituality, history and art into one massive stone mandala. It's not just a temple, it's a symbol of harmony between humans, nature and the divine.
Slowly. Okay everyone, now we are entering our classroom. To be knowledgeable is not enough. Let's say this is intellectual side. And look at the last three circle terraces on the top. This is the description. This is a symbol of spiritual. They call it perfection, nirvana. Some mention this is kind of a place, physics, heaven or paradise. But others mention that nirvana is about condition. In Sanskrit, nir, that means no, and vana means jungle. No longer animal behavior with us, because here you controlling your life well. Symbolizing with the 72 bell shape, or we call it stupa. And inside of the bell, there is a single Buddha sitting. There is the simple analogy. The outer part, the bell, our body, hardware. The Buddha inside is the software. That will symbolizing when you go higher. Sorry, today we go to level. The top part, we close only for Buddhist ritual activity. But don't worry, that's high enough for you to catch the last moment. You will find the Buddha here. When you go higher, everyone will curious with the big bell. And here is the most question for me. What is inside of the big bell? Is there any big Buddha, gold, treasure, or neck? When you start to walking around, you can try to touch the stone random. Maybe you will find a secret button. This is it. Then when you touch it, suddenly open up automatically. Sorry, too many Indiana Jones when I was 1911, even the Dutch has the same curiosity. They try to open up the big bell before rebuild, and they write down clear on the journal, they found nothing. Prove it. When you go up there, even you curious, you want to know, but when you keeping walk, this design will lead you to change your focus. You will prefer to see the landscape when you are on the top. That's the last thing what we have to do.
If you are planning to visit, come early in the morning, not just to beat the crowd, but to catch the sunrise light touching the stone cavings. It's one of those moments you will remember for a lifetime. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more solo travel stories around Indonesia. I will see you in the next one. Until then, ride safe and stay curious.